Hello and welcome. In today's video we're going to talk about how to read the dictionary and how to go about learning a new word or different aspects of a certain word, which I have listed here. There are four main aspects to a word or points to a word, which are pronunciation, language of origin, definition, and part of speech. And in this video I'm going to focus on the pronunciation and how to read the symbols given by Merriam-Webster, which is very key in trying to understand how words are pronounced. A lot of my videos are going to focus on language of origin and how to use the language patterns. Knowing the language of a certain word can help you so much as to figure out how to spell that word using the patterns from that language. So that's really big, and a lot of my videos are going to focus on that. Then we also have definition. We're going to focus a lot on roots and how to use those to piece together pieces of words to figure out what the word means. And definition is also helpful with vocabulary. Vocabulary now is a part of the spelling bee, so this is also a big thing. And then we have part of speech, which may not be as big as language of origin and definition, but it can definitely be useful in some cases. For example, trying to differentiate between a noun and an adjective, spelling a word with a US for a noun and an OUS for an adjective. So there's some instances where part of speech can come in handy. But today, we're going to focus on pronunciation. So let me go ahead and clear this. And here I have my online Merriam-Webster dictionary, and we're going to look up a word. Let's look up the word pronunciation. Now here's an example of a word entry. You start out with the main entry, here's the word, and the word is always going to be separated in two syllables with these little dots you see here, pronunciation. And we've always been taught, since we were young, to break words into syllables, and that's really a helpful thing to do. So that's something we will look at. Then you have the pronunciation, the diacritics. Look at these symbols, pronunciation or pronunciation, chiefly in substantiated speech, or it could be pronunciation. So we're just going to look at these different symbols today and learn what they stand for, so we can pronounce any word in the dictionary. Function is basically just the part of speech. It's a noun. Etymology, this is the biggie, the language of origin. We've got Middle English from Middle French from Latin, and knowing this for every word is such a key factor into its spelling. So that's what we're going to focus on a lot. And then down here you've got the definition, the act or manner of pronouncing something, articulate utterance. So there you've got the definition. So this is just an example entry from the dictionary, and we're going to focus on these symbols for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write down a certain symbol from Merriam-Webster, symbol / the sound it makes. Okay, and then we're going to go through example words with that. And then once you become familiar with this, it may take a while at first. You definitely won't get it at first, so don't worry if that happens. It will take a while, and once you get accustomed to it, it's really easy. So let's just go through it. First sound I want to talk about is this. Starting off with a tricky one, this is the schwa. You've probably heard of it, and sometimes it's referenced to as a sticky spot for spellers because it can stand for A, E, I, O, or U. And that makes it so difficult. When this schwa is in the middle of words, sometimes spellers are clueless as to if they should use an A or an O. And we will look at this later for languages, language patterns. Different languages have different rules for the schwa. For example, Greek has an O for the connecting vowel for the schwa most of the time. Latin has an I. So those are things we're going to look at. But for now, this is the sound schwa. But it's not pronounced schwa, it's pronounced just a simple It's like a mix of all the vowel sounds. If you take all the vowels, A, E, I, O, and just put it together, you will get a sound. Examples, but, you've got but, and see how there's two schwas in this word, and A represents one of them and U represents another one of them. So you can see how the schwa can be spelled with many letters. But. Next sense symbol we have is small schwa. In many other pronunciations, it's like a superscript to another letter, and all this means is it's still a schwa. Here's an example. This may help define it. In the word kitten, you don't say kitten or kitten. It's kind of like there is no vowel between the T and the N. You just say kitten. And that in the middle, it's really hard to say the sound. Kitten, this sound is the superscript schwa. So it's like a really tiny schwa. Kitten. Basically, you can't, really hear it. Then we've got the schwa with an R, which is basically An example is further. And here you have UR and ER to represent the same sound, So, yeah, it's just a with an R. Pretty simple. Next we get into the vowels. Start with A. This is just a normal A. You can see there's no fancy symbols or anything on it. When there's a vowel without any fancy symbols, that just means it's the short sound. A. Okay, as an apple. So let me write that down. Apple or ash. It's just A. Okay, it's got no fancy lines or dots or anything with it. It's A. Then, if you've got a line over the A, it's A. It says its own name. Whenever you have a vowel with a line on top of it, it's just going to say its own name, A. And an example is ace. Okay, A is saying its own name, ace. Alright? And then the final one I want to put down here is A with two dots. The two dots really only happens with the A, none of the other vowels. It's kind of like a ah sound, as in mop. Okay, it's like a ah, and it would be like A-H. For simplicity's sake, it would be ah. Okay, so A with two dots is ah, as in mop. Okay, so let me go ahead and clear this. We can keep on going. Okay, now we go on to A with a U and one dot over the U. And this is ow, as in ouch, like ow. And an example is out. Okay, so A with U and a dot over the U is ow, as in out. And that really completes all the variations on the letter A. And then we've got really simple B, it's just the same, B, got baby. Okay, there's no variations on B. Same goes for, actually no, not the same goes for C. Never mind. C is just, CH is the ch sound. Pretty simple, as in chin. The k sound is not a C, it's going to be a K, which we'll see later. So this is really the only one with the C at the beginning, CH, as in chin. And this is not k, because a lot of words like anchor has CH, but whenever you see this in the pronunciation, it's going to be ch, okay? Then we've got D, which is really the same, d, as in did. And then we get into variations on the next vowel. Really, vowels are the most important aspect of pronunciation. We've got the short E. Again, there's no fancy stuff on this vowel, so it's going to be the short sound E, as in bet or egg. Okay, it's going to be E, short E. Then we've got long E, which, as you can probably guess by now, is just an E with a line on top of it. It's E, long E, as in easy. And here you've got two of them, E, Z. So, E with a line on top of it is E. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clear this. Next we've got F, which is the same, f, as in 50. A lot of times, like I said, PH, like words that have PH are pronounced, as F. So you're going to see this for many words. Then we've got G, which is normal, is G, as in go. Now remember, there might be words that have G in the spelling that have soft G, which is J, in their pronunciation. So that's going to be a J in the pronunciation. So anytime you see a G in the pronunciation, not in the word, it's going to be a hard G. Always a hard G. As in go, like go. It's going to be G all the time. Then we've got H, which is the same as in hat. No variation on that. Then we get to our next vowel, I. Nothing around this I. It's going to be the short I, as in hit or bit. Okay, I. I is the short I sound. Okay, so when there's nothing on it, keep it simple. It's the short sound. Then we've got the long I, which the symbol is this. There is no dot above the I. It's, I guess, taken out by the line on top. But this is going to be the long I, as in ice. Remember, long vowels always say their own name. So the I is going to say its own name, ice. Okay, ice. Okay. Moving on. J is the same thing, no variations, as in job, J. Again, this can be used to represent soft G's in pronunciations. We've got K, which can be used to represent the hard C or just the normal K. Example is kin. Alright? Now here's a fancy twist on the K. If you've got a K with a line underneath it, it's going to make this sound. Okay, now that sounded really weird, I'm sure, but that's a variation on K. It's gonna be like a guttural, like coming from your throat K, as in ich dien. Okay, and this doesn't happen a lot. Happens with a couple of German words, I'm sure. But whenever you see a K with the line underneath it, make sure you go into mode. Sometimes it's fun to pronounce words with in it. Alright, next we're going on to L, same. L as in lily, and don't confuse this with an I, but I'm sure you can tell when you see it in the dictionary. It's O. Next, M is the same, no variations on that, as in murmur. Murmur. Okay. So you've got L, M, N. Same thing as in own. Okay, so N is pretty simple. These are, same old sounds. There's a variation on the N. Sometimes when the symbol goes like this, it's like an N with like one N kind of like hanging in. It's the NG sound together, as in sing, or gong. It's where you don't say sing or gong. This is like a sound altogether, like sing. So this is what the hangy sort of N stands for, is the ing sound, ing. So you're not going to pronounce the N by itself, it's going to be with the G, as in sing. Okay, moving on to our next vowel. We have O. Now, O doesn't really have a short sound on its own because we already took care of that with the A with the two dots, which is this, which we don't have to worry about now. But the O, let me get rid of this. The O has, we have the long O for sure, which is like this, O with the line on top, and it's pronounced O, as in go. Remember, it says its own name because it's a long sound. Then we've got an O with one dot over it, and I wouldn't call this the short O, but it's kind of what it is. It's basically like AW sound, like ah, as in law. It shouldn't be confused, here let me write this as a note, not to be confused with A with 2 dots. That was more like AH, ah, or ah. And this, like, a lot of people, like, even myself, when I was studying, I would always be like, what's the difference between these two? And it's such a minute difference, it's really hard to tell. So I don't think we should worry about that too much now. Just know that O with a dot over it is just ah, as in law. Okay? Alright, and then when you have OI together, it's oi, as in boy. Okay? So that's pretty simple. That completes our vowel O. Okay, moving on, we have P, which is pretty normal, the same. P as in pepper. Then we have R, as in red, no variations on R. Alright, let's go to S. S by itself is going to be S, as in less. And whenever you see an S and an H together, it's going to be sh, as in shy. Now remember, don't separate an S and an H into s and h. It's one sound altogether, sh, as in shy. Okay, let's move on to T. Normal T is just t, as in tie. And then we have TH, which is th. Again, it's a blend of two letters. Don't separate these, as in thin. Okay. Now here's an important thing I want to talk about is the next sound. Let me go ahead and clear this. Okay, let's start out with the TH again. TH as in thin. And there's a different variation on the TH, which is a TH with a line underneath it. And that's the sound. It's what you hear in father. You don't say father, you say father. It's sort of like a D sound, not really. Basically, the difference between these two is the and the. When you say this sound, when you say it, it's like your front teeth. It's like in the middle of your tongue, I guess, and this one is like at the tip of your tongue. The and the. So that's the actual difference between these two. An example I have here is the or father. So make sure you watch out, be on the lookout for this, the difference between these two. A lot of Spanish words have the sound for the letter D, as in rejoneador. So that's something really important. So watch out for the line under the TH. Okay, moving on to our final vowel, we have U. There is no short U sound, as the schwa kind of takes care of that, which is like a. So we have this sound first, U with 2 dots, which is oo, as in loot or food. Okay, so the U with 2 dots is oo, and many people get this confused with YU, so let me go ahead and settle this now. This is U, as in like community. You can, like, it's not right to say community. So here you say community. You have that Y in there before, that Y sound in there, I should say, before the U's. It's not community, it's community. So there's the difference between this and this, right? You don't say feud for food. That means a totally different thing. So yeah, be on the lookout for the Y behind this, or in front of, however you want to look at it, with this U with 2 dots. Okay? Then we have U with 1 dot. And this is the sound. And here, let me give you an example. As in foot. You don't say foot. It's foot. Or book, not book. Okay? So the U with 1 dot is like that sort of like middle-ish sound. It's while the U with 2 dots is oo. It's longer, okay? And then we're going to move on. We have V, normal, V, as in vivid. Okay, this is normal. We've got W for W, as in away. W. Y is normal. Y, as in yet. I've already covered the Y with the U with 2 dots. Again, that's U, as in youth or community, like I said. Almost done. We've got Z, as in zone. This is pretty simple. And then the final sound we have is ZH, which again is a blend of 2 letters. Don't separate them. It's zh, zh. You see it in a lot of French words towards the end, like age, like dressage. But basically it's the zh sound, as in vision. Okay, vision. That's where the ZH comes from. So this basically concludes the main sounds and symbols that Merriam-Webster uses in its pronunciations. The pronunciations of words will be in the middle of the 2 virgules, which is, these 2 signs. And then you've got stress marks. Let's pull up Merriam-Webster again here. Like when I looked up the word pronunciation, you see there's a little mark down here and another mark down up here. These are stress marks, or the accent marks. It's where you put the stress on words. Whichever one is higher is the first one, so the sound coming right after it is going to be the one with the most stress. Pronunciation. You've got the most stress on the Asian part. And then the one which is on the bottom part is the one preceding the sound with the second stressed. Second most stress. So it's pronunciation. So we will take a look into stress further. I'll make a totally different video on just stress and how to pronounce words with different stresses and accents. So look for that in another video. Thank you.